13 U.S. service members killed in Afghanistan, at least 15 others wounded in the deadliest day for our troops in a decade. Two suicide bombers targeted the airport, the only escape for Americans and Afghans, while gunmen opened fire. Joining us this morning, retired Army Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, co-chairman of the Center for American Security at the America First Policy Institute. General, thank you for joining us.
Jan, thanks for having me.
The Pentagon said they now expect terrorist attacks to continue, yet they are relying on the Taliban to protect our troops. Why are we relying on the Taliban for security?
Well, that's a pretty good question to ask. That's not something I'd recommend we do. I think it's because we've lost the ability to push out our perimeter that we want to have and have the security there because we don't have the wherewithal to do it. We have the troop strength to do it if we want to do it. Look here, Jan, here's what I would have done earlier. And of course, my guidance would not have been accepted, but I would have gone into the president like I would have gone in with President Trump or Vice President Pence and said, look, you've got two options. You have to either collapse the airhead and get out of here as fast as you can, or basically you go back to the Taliban, you go back to the leadership of the Taliban, you go back to Mullah Baradar, who we know is on speed dial with the White House. I mean, we talked to him, the director of the CIA talked to him and said, look, the 31 August deadline is off. We're not going to do that. We're going to stay here as long as we have to make sure we extract every U.S. citizen that wants to get out, and also the Afghan allies that have been with us over the years who want to get out. And we're going to take control of the security. And that means we push out the perimeter to do that. That's the only way you're going to control the situation. The only people I trust are the Americans that are there and the other allies that may be there, the Brits or the French that are there. But trusting the Taliban, I'm sorry, that doesn't go very far with me because we've never vetted them and they're not allies. So we need to take it upon ourselves to push that out there, make sure we get our people out and tell the Taliban quite clearly the deadline that we set is off. And if Baradar didn't buy into it, then he's got to bear the consequences for it.
Yeah, President Biden, you mentioned, you can't trust the Taliban here. He was blasted over that baffling report revealing that U.S. officials had provided the Taliban with a list of American citizens, green card holders, Afghan allies to grant entry into that outer perimeter there of the city's airport. What were your thoughts when you heard about this?
Candidly, Jan, I was a bit stunned why we would provide anybody with any information to our friends or allies or American citizens to the Taliban. I mean, you can't trust them. We don't know who really they are. We don't know if they're working in conjunction with ISIS-K or other terrorist organizations. And just to provide that information is stunning to me. We kind of said we will outsource our security of American citizens. That's what I said a minute ago. I think what he should have done is told Baradar and told the Taliban, we are going to control our destiny. We are going to control the ability to go get American citizens and get out of our way. And they know we're leaving. I mean, that's already a set condition. And we just need to tell them that. But telling them, giving them information, we have no idea what kind of information we gave them. It was quite stunning to me.
Well, General Kellogg, you did serve in the Trump White House. What did President Trump's agreement with the Taliban entail? What role does former President Donald Trump's agreement play in what we saw unfold in Kabul?
Yeah, this was over a year ago, February of a year ago, when we made an agreement with the Taliban that we were going to withdraw. And I think withdrawal was the right idea, but it was how you withdraw that was important. And we put together a plan that had certain conditions or gates that had to go through to make sure we got to the end state. The final gate that we had was intra-Afghan talks between the Taliban and the Ghani government that would come up with a government of reconciliation. Both of the sides would be working together to make sure that there was peace and hopefully in the future prosperity for Afghanistan. That was backed by 2,500 troops and 3,000 or more paramilitary that was supported by our CIA going forward, plus the air support, plus Bagram Air Base would have been open to make sure all of this worked. We set a 1 May date, but that was a date certain only in the sense it was a forcing function for everybody to work together. If the last gate wasn't met, then we weren't going to do it. And that was made very clear. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, picked up the phone on 2 different occasions. I was in the Oval when he did it, and called Mullah Baradar, the Taliban political officer who we were working with in Doha as part of the peace talks, and told him in no uncertain terms, in Trumpian terms, what would happen if he violated the agreement. And because of that, For the period of time from February of over a year ago till now, till yesterday, no Americans had been killed in Afghanistan. It was very clear. The subset of this is people forget that a month before that, we had killed Soleimani. He reads the newspaper. Broader knows what's going on in the world. He knew what our resolve was, and the president made it very clear in unmistakable terms the consequences of his inaction going forward. So we thought we had a pretty good handle on going forward, what was being done. We put a great negotiator out there, was Al Khalilzad, an Afghan as well, who was the special representative for Afghan reconstruction. And he was there actually in Doha. Mike Pompeo went over there, the Secretary of State. Mike Pence called Ghani. The president called Ghani. Everybody was involved with a path going forward. And we were moving it well along a line to get success going forward. If we had had success, you wouldn't have seen yesterday. You wouldn't have seen withdrawal going forward. You would have seen some semblance of a government, not a perfect government, we know that, but at least a government of reconciliation that would have hopefully made life better for the Afghans in a peaceful environment.
And it's important to point out, too, that the Afghan citizens did not choose the Taliban. All right, General Kellogg, thank you so much for joining us this morning here on the National Desk. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jan. Thanks for having me.